When I was young, when I was the first time in Nazca, I realized that in the ground you find some lines with a white stuff. To me it looked like salt. I crushed it out with my nails. I took it into my mouth. It doesn't smell like salt. It smelled like nothing. I went to the hotel. I stirred it in hot and cold water, but nothing changed. So I asked the Dresden University, please take some samples of this. What is this? They analyzed it in the big microscope, and out comes a crystalline glass. We don't understand this. So I know for sure something is wrong in Nazca.
In 1998, perfectly round, highly radioactive iron pipes were found in and around a cavern located underneath an iron pyramid on a mountain in a mostly uninhabitable area of China. The pipes date to the beginning of the age of the bull, the age of the destroyer.
In the state of Washington, it was against the law for an Asian to marry a white person up until not too long ago.
It is no accident that most people think the Great Pyramids of Egypt are such a mystery. They were built to warn us. They are all aligned to the stars, most of which reside in China, which not only has the largest pyramid in the world, they have over 100. In 1912, two travel agents by the name of Fred Meyer Schroeder and Oscar Mayman for the first time ever reported these pyramids to the Western world. They stated it was more eerie than if we had found them in the wilderness. Here they have been under the nose of the world, but unknown to the Western countries. The reporting of this was put aside to make way for the sinking of the Titanic. The Titanic was a large passenger ship owned by 33rd degree Mason J.P. Morgan. Later, James Gussman and his co-pilot stated after having technical difficulties which led them off course while flying during the Second World War, I banked to avoid a mountain and we came out over a level valley. Directly below was a gigantic white pyramid. In 1947, in the New York Sunday News, an article was published with a photo. The story was then quickly replaced by a report of a UFO crashing in Roswell, and the media was flooded with stories of the Egyptian pyramids being built by aliens. All mention of Asian pyramids was then banned from the mainstream media and not allowed back again until almost 50 years later, making people forget the markers were left to represent the ages of the destroyer, such as the Pleiades and the Taurus Bull constellation. And all around the world, no matter what language the people are speaking, the God who wanted the people to be like the gods and gave them the knowledge to build the temples is described as the God of merchants and of arts, crafts, and knowledge, of the dawn of Venus.
The feathered serpent was the legendary bringer of civilization to Central America, the teacher of astronomy and architecture. Serpent symbolism is found all across the ancient world. In the temples of Angkor, in Cambodia, images of gigantic serpents with many heads are everywhere.
The god monster Typhon smothered the earth, choking everything. But the earth belonged to Zeus.
The feathered serpent was the symbol not only of a god, but of a group of human beings. Mayan sacred texts call them plumed serpents, great knowers, great thinkers in their very being. To the Aztecs, they were light-skinned and bearded.
This is what the war was about. Poseidon gave this knowledge to his people to make everyone equal, but the bloodline of Zeus wanted to keep their status as gods. They wanted control of the entire world. Civilizations such as the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the Hopi were all descendants of the Asians, tribe of Poseidon, and they verbally passed down for thousands of years information about each of the previous three worlds of this cycle, information that almost the entire race of humanity has been forced to forget at the hands of the brutal mentality of the descendants of the tribe of Zeus. The firstborn son of Enlil, Zeus, was named Sin. He was the inheritor of what was known in the land we now call Iraq of the Tablet of Destiny. It is because of these Sumerian tablets that we now know what the Tree of Life and Tree of Knowledge in the modern Bible really was. It was because of his inherited knowledge that the tribe of Sin was able to conquer the Age of the Bull. This gave Sin the titles Lord of the Cowherders and Lord of the Calendar. He was worshipped by his descendants as the one who determines the destinies of distant days. And on his head he wore 2 bull horns, and their symbol was the cross.
Here in central Mexico stands an ancient city that dates back more than 2,000 years. Its name, Teotihuacan, literally means City of the Gods. And located at its center is the Pyramid of the Sun. Incredibly, this pyramid's perimeter is virtually the same as that of the Great Pyramid of Giza.
At Teotihuacan, here you have a giant pyramid of the sun and a giant pyramid of the moon. According to the legends, these things were built at the end of one of the destructions of the world. Each time, mankind rebuilds again. And Teotihuacan supposedly was built just at the beginning of one of these 4 worlds.
To the Hopi, life is part of an infinite pattern, a continuum of cycles within cycles. The spinning of the planets reflects the cycle of the seasons, and the circular journey of human life mirrors this larger pattern. The Hopi believe they emerged from below into this world after 3 prior worlds had begun and ended.
They say the earth split open, and that they emerged from a new crack we now call the Grand Canyon.
If you went straight through the Hopi reservation to the other side of the world, you would come out in Tibet. The Tibetan word for sun is the Hopi word for moon, and the Hopi word for moon is the Tibetan word for sun, because they're on the opposite sides of the world.
After they emerged from the ground, the bloodline of Zeus appointed Massa as guardian of their new territory. The people that worked under Massa to rebuild the new cities we now call Masons.
Massa owns this land over here. We met him in Oloraibi, and then he gave us permission to live here with him and give us this knowledge to take care of this world for him. So this really belongs to the Great Spirit, Massa.
This figure represents the Great Spirit or guardian of this land that we came on.
In the first figure carved by the Hopi ancients, the Great Spirit or Creator meets man. The Creator then gave man the sacred circle, a promised life of peace and plenty if, and only if, man would follow the spiritual path. While the brown man waited, the white man traveled the earth on a mission to spread the spiritual circle and return with knowledge.
He was supposed to bring this, but instead he brought a symbol of a cross, they said. It's on here, cross.
They were light-skinned and bearded.
Beginning around 2200 BC, and for the next 2,160 years, on the morning of the spring equinox, the sun rose in the constellation of Aries, the Ram. Therefore, in ancient Egypt during the age of the Ram, the Egyptians worshipped the Ram, and numerous statues and monuments were dedicated to the Ram god. Egyptian kings, most notably King Ramesses, were associated with the constellation of Aries, the ram, and numerous statues of the ram god, including those protectively surrounding the image of Ramesses, were erected throughout Egypt and as guardians of his temple and mortuary complex.
At this same time, they assigned a new creator god in the age of the creator, the age of the ram, to the people we now call Jews. But instead of just watching over a specific territory, they were promised the land of Israel for their cooperation in taking over the territories that once belonged to the descendants of Poseidon.
This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Each man strap a sword to his side. Go back and forth through the camp from one end to the other, each killing his brother and friend and neighbor.
The Levites did as Moses commanded, and that day about 3,000 of the people died. And the Lord struck the people with a plague because of what they did with the calf.